Okay, so now we'll continue with the Navajo consonants. One of the things you have to remember is that the consonants do not exactly match those in European languages, so there'll be certain sounds that are different. For example, the voicing sounds. The first letter you see at the top, ba, ba, you pronounce it, it's between, kind of like the P, but without any aspiration in English, so like spot. So ba. I've heard speakers also say ba, so ba and ba, but it's not like a full-on ba, like in English, so ba. The other thing is that the second sound, the chish. So this is sort of arranged alphabetically, so the B tends to be more like the voiceless P sound in spot, okay? And the CH, because it's voiceless and aspirated, so it's like ch, so chish. So like English word child. And then below that, on the third line, you have the word ch-a, which is hat, ch-a. So that's the ejective sound. And then if you go down, it's the be, which means sheep. So again, it's like more like a t, but without the aspiration, the. It's almost like the T sound in Spanish, but less dental. It's more alveolar sound, so da. And then we go down to tlon, which is like a tla sound, which I guess the way to describe it is you try to put your tongue in a position to say L, and then you sort of use the tip of your tongue, tap it against the alveolar region to create a tla. Okay, I think I have to give you diagrams to pronounce it, but anyway, this is of course related to the sound as well, which we'll look further down. Now, the next line we have the D, Z, Z. So it's zish. So the zish, which means mountain. Zish. So the L with the bar is actually the sh that you find in Welsh, the double L sound, okay, and also in Greenlandic. That's the same sound. The G is interesting. I've heard people say gra. So it's not really a K, it's not really a devoiced K, there's a slight glide, so gra. For example, the word for rabbit. The word for wool, the next line, ara. So the GH would be closer to the R in German, ra. It's not as fricativized as the r, like uvula as in French, r. It's more like a r, ara, which means wool. And then the H sound is like hati. Okay, so hati. I'm using the falling tone and a D. So the h, it's kind of like more of a vela sound. So it's not a h, like in Arabic. No, it's h. Hati. Okay. And then we've got the H again. Ba, because now the difference is the H sound at the end of a syllable tends to be softer, more like the H in English. So ba. Okay. And then there's a HW. So like hua, which is like an aspiration, like oh shoo, okay, relief. That's more like when in English, like a so you get a person from Scotland to say when. That's kind of like how it sounds like. The J again, it's like chatti. So it's again more like the C, in Italian, che, something like that, but slightly voiced, so it's a little bit lighter, but it's not as j as in English. So chatti, which means antelope. Then the following line we have the aspirated K sound. So kia. So there's a slight h sound. And one of the features of this of Navajo words, in fact, is the K tends to be quite strongly aspirated. K. So it's either k when it's next to an A, O, U, k, ko. There's no U in Navajo, so k, ko. But with A and E, it's more like a kie kind of sound. And the next sound is a k'd, which means now. So the k is very strongly sort of glottalized or ejectivized in Navajo. And then you have the word kwe. So again, kw sound. That's the sort of bilabial version. Sorry, my mistake. And then the L is like in English, lajish, which is glove, la. Okay. Then you have the fricative. So the L with a bar is pronounced so sit, which means smoke. And then the other sounds are very close to English. So the ma, as in shama, which means my mother. The next line, nana, which means again, like an N. And then sis is a belt. And then we have shush, which is a bear. So these sounds are very, very similar to English. Now the rest of them, the other sounds are a little bit different. So you've got the sound t, as in tin, which is ice. So you hear the h, there's a little bit of a hissing h after the T. So a little bit stronger than the tin in English. Tin. And below that you have that's the T with the apostrophe after it. And it means still or yet. And then kla, which means ointment. Below that, the second T is actually a typo. It should be T, bar L, and apostrophe. So it's a klizzy, which means goat. So this is a sound that's quite common in some of the languages in South Africa, for example. I think Zulu has it's like this as well. And also many languages in North America. So it's an ejective, lateral affricate. So, all right. And then below that, the word tin, which means wood, like in English, hats, right? And then you got the ejective version, that's the word for sagebrush. And the W is exactly like in English, so it's wa. And the Y is the same as in English, ya. The Z or Z sound is zus. So like in English, and then the ZH or ZH, bij. So it's a j sound. All right.